Hi guys, first of all, how are you? I really miss you, and I'm looking forward to seeing each other in class. I don't know when this is gonna happen, but just letting you know I'm really missing our classes. Well, for starting World War II, I felt that we should take this opportunity, this situation that is not a good situation, as an opportunity to do something different, maybe with our subject, that normally in everyday class would be complicated. And I think being a teenager is a part of your life in which you've got so many ideas, you are so creative, you've got a lot of imagination to depart from to do something great. And well, I don't know if you have one, but when I had your age, I wrote a diary. I don't know, I think this is not very late, like very millennial thing, but I used to do it. Just let me know if it's something fashionable still nowadays. Well, so the project, it's going to be to write a diary, but to write this diary, you have to take a time machine or one of the doors of El Ministerio del Tiempo, wonderful series, and travel to France in the origin of World War II. You're going to be a teenager living the war. You're going to be 16 years old. You're going to be able to choose if you're a girl or a boy. And you would have to write a diary. Of course, the purpose is not only writing a diary, but to learn about World War II. So, of course, you would have to firstly learn as much as possible about this historical episode, one of the bloodiest of history, to be ready. Well, I start telling you more about the project. What's the final product to be evaluated? The final product is going to be a diary, as I was talking about. You are that French teenager, and you're gonna use your pieces of writing in the diary to talk about your life experiences and thoughts during World War II. To be able to write it, as I was saying, you obviously need a lot of knowledge, and I'll be expecting you showing that knowledge, the knowledge you have of World War II. I'm going to be your guide all this time. I'm going to give you chapters instructions, and I'm going to give you how these chapters should start. I'm going to give you the start of every chapter, because I'm going to give you a situation, the situation you find yourselves in, to continue writing about that situation. About the format, you can do your diary handwritten. Actually, that would be perfect if you pretend that you are writing an actual real diary. But you can also do it on Word if you prefer so. In both cases, you would have to paste redacted fragment. The redacted fragment I'm gonna give you. The start, the written part I'm gonna give you for each chapter. You would have to copy paste it on the diary, okay? Even though if it's a writing diary, if you're writing it handwritten, you would have to add my fragment. Well, and you also can add all the primary sources necessary, or all the primary sources that are giving extra value to the piece of information you're writing in the diary, such as I don't know, a piece of a newspaper cover, like the newspaper cover announcing the start of World War II. or pictures of the liberation of Paris. You're going to be living in Paris, so maybe you want to show one of the pictures we have of the final liberation of Paris. A letter you receive from your family that escaped and is living now in the United States, or a letter from a friend, I don't know, that is German, and how that friend who is German is living the conflict on the other side. Well, instructions. First is that you really have to be her or him. You have to become the author of the diary. You have to talk all the time in first person, as the main purpose of this project is to understand the war empathetically. I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the people that had to live through the war. That people, that anonymous people, like, they didn't choose to be part of that period of history. They just had to struggle and survive through the war. Of course, you have to be very imaginative. Take this project not as a mandatory exercise to pass the unit, but take the chance to be a writer. I don't know if you've ever written anything longer than an essay that your teachers have asked you to do, but it is an opportunity to try. How do you feel writing about something? Well, your writing skills, of course, your creativity and your ability to put together a story that it's believable, would be evaluated too. As you can imagine, the main purpose of the project is learning about World War II. Like, we don't forget we are in history class. So you can't just start writing the diary. First, you have to follow what writers call a research and documentation process. Es el proceso de investigación y documentación que todo escritor sigue antes de lanzarse a escribir cualquier historia. You have to study firstly the book contents as the base to depart from, but you may watch it already. Like, there are many documentaries on the internet that are wonderful, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and sometimes that's true. Regarding World War II, the documentary that it's called La Segunda Guerra Mundial a color is uploaded in Netflix, D-Max, and on YouTube. D-Max, it's the same documentary. D-Max, you have to register, but it's free. But well, anyway, the documentary is also in YouTube. My advice is to watch it, not all the same day, but bit by bit, maybe one chapter a day. It would be a good idea to do so at the same time you are reading about World War II, studying the book, and of course writing your diary. You have to build your character also before starting writing the diary. Well, I am saying it many times, but my intention is for you to be yourselves, like to try to be yourself in the diary. I mean, try to put your personality into the character you are building on the diary. Of course, this is not mandatory, but I want you to put yourself, like you're a teenager, to put yourself as a teenager in the shoes of the people living the war. Imagine that happened to us. Well, it is not difficult to put yourself in that moment. Actually, we are living one of the most important historical moments of our lives with this situation that would seem completely unbelievable. If we talk about this, I don't know, in September 2019, this would be the coronavirus stuff. This would be, it would seem, even to me, to us, to everybody, a sci-fi movie. I don't know. Well, try to yourself now. Use that and think. I don't know. Paris is being attacked by the Nazi army. How would I feel if I look out of the window and saw, I don't know, soldiers on the street? And try to use those emotions, those feelings, and put them in your character, the character you're building. But if somebody prefers to invent a different person, it's also valid, of course. Write down on a piece of paper all the features you want your character to have. You must depart from the information I give you about him, her, and never contradict it. This is important because I must guide you. So when you are building your character, don't develop it too quick. Be careful because I'm going to give you some details that you cannot contradict. You are also free to introduce personal details and relationships. For example, friends. You can invent friends. You can invent a love story. You can invent hobbies. You can invent deaths of relatives. But don't get lost in a parallel story, in parallel stories. Don't lose focus of the work. Introducing friends, introducing love stories, or introducing hobbies, introducing a real teenager life would give the diary more reality. It's going to make the story you tell in your diary much more easy to believe. It's gonna look more real. But don't invent another novel. Like, don't become too focus on a parallel story. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. So once you've done what we just said so far, what's next? So the next thing to do is wait for instructions for each chapter. I'm leaving you the first chapter, so you can start right now to do the first task. But as I said, first, always you have to get documentation for every chapter, for the situation you would have to write about. So even though you are watching the documentaries and you've already studied the whole unit on the book, maybe if I mention a particular event on the diary you would have to write about, maybe you of course need to go on the internet and research about that event so you can write more accurately about what happens to your character. And well, after that, you are free to write. Some tips to finish. You are the owner of the story of your life. So be imaginative. You have no limits. The limits are historical accuracy and my chapters. That's it. You can do whatever you want with your character, departing from that. Try not to move your character to different places. That is important because I would be the one moving your character for, of course, historical purposes. The idea, as you can imagine, is to witness as many World War II events as possible. As the story is advancing, try to reread what you previously wrote so you don't contradict your past self. Me explico. Que conforme vayan avanzando los capítulos, igual habéis escrito mucho y empezáis a olvidar lo que dijisteis al principio. Releeros para no contradeciros nunca, ¿de acuerdo? Very important in a diary is never losing sight of emotions. The idea is to show how real people suffered the terrible consequences of World War II. Sometimes in history, historians, we tend to study too cold, in a very cold way, or too automatically, the historical events, forgetting that it was real individuals like us, like you, Like it's happening to us right now with coronavirus. Like it's that anonymous individual people who go through these events. So this project tends to be an homage to all the anonymous history makers. As I already said, add photographs, cuts of newspapers, handwritten letters, etc., to give a reality perception to your diary. And finally, take it seriously. Take it seriously because in this unit, the diary is going to be the only piece to be evaluated. We are not going to do exam of this unit. We are not going to do booklet of this unit. This unit is going to be fully evaluated only by your diary. And talking about evaluation, well, your mark is coming from this project, your mark of this unit, and what you have to take into account writing your diary. Historical accuracy, super important, as you can imagine. The number of historical events mentioned and the quality of those. I mean, you can, when you are writing about anything, you can mention other historical events that are related to whatever you're talking about. For example, you can talk about battles that are going on during the war, or you can talk about French politics to justify your point of view, for instance. You can talk about the Spanish situation. For example, I told you the story, your stories started in April 1938. So you can talk about what happened in Spain, to just what's going on in Spain to justify whatever. So the more historical events that, of course, are related to whatever we are talking about, you mention, the more research you are showing you've done, obviously. Understanding of history. When you write your diary, you're gonna show if you are understanding World War II and the causes of World War II, the consequences of World War II, the cause of war, weapons, ideologies, and that is gonna be evaluated too. Empathy. The ability to understand the historical processes and the people living through them. Well, I'm not going to repeat it because I already said many times. And then the writing skills, creativity, grammar, spelling, and coherence and consistency of the story too. This is the literary part that I want us to work. I say us because I am writing too, not only you, to potentiate in this story. The due date is the 22nd of May. I have extended very, very much the due date, but I'm not going to extend it anymore. I mean, we've got plenty of time. I would give you my last chapter far away from the due date, so you have time to do the last chapter and correct your diary, etc., etc. But the 22nd of May is the last date. Okay, I'm not going to extend it, please. Thank you. The delivery is going to be physical if we go back to school by this date, or online if we don't. The format, obviously, well, it's going to be online format if we don't go back to school, but I don't want that to stop you from doing it on a real diary, handwritten. Me explico, que aunque no podamos entregar el diario físico en persona, no quiero que eso os pare de hacerlo a mano, porque creo que le da bastante sensación de realidad, de vericidad al diario frente. Además que escribir un diario es algo muy personal y claro, al hacerlo en Word pierde un poquito ese romanticismo de escribir, de coger tu diario, tu trozo de papel y escribirlo a mano. Go back to English. If we don't go back to school, you'll take pictures of that diary and put everything into a PDF document, and you would send me that PDF document with the picture of your handwritten diary. If you're doing a Word document, very easy. You convert it to PDF and you upload it to Aula Virtual or so. And when this is all, I don't know if you are freaking out right now, you are motivated, or you are, I don't know, saying some bad words are going through your mind towards my person. But this is it. I am really thrilled with this project. I'll be writing with you guys because I'll be driving your character through history, and I'll be writing the first part of every chapter. And I really invite you to motivate with this project that is different and that is an opportunity to do a creativity, a more creative, que saquéis, es una oportunidad para sacar vuestro yo más creativo, una parte más creativa de vosotros, y lanzaos a escribir. Y bueno, espero que estéis dispuestos al trabajo. Bueno, ya me quedo en castellano y aprovecho para mandaros a todos vosotros y a vuestras familias un gran abrazo y muchísima salud, y que es lo más importante realmente. Y que espero veros pronto. Un saludo.